Yes, hello again. This is now tarot lesson number 126. And somebody left a comment the last time. And I asked for permission to talk about it and didn't get a reply. But because it was a public comment, I'm assuming that it's okay, because I don't know about YouTube and its correspondence with people. So if you're not familiar, the person left a comment about trying this 9-card spread. And if you're not familiar with it, this is the idea. So you lay 9 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the first card represents you in the past, or the questioner in the past. The fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth card is the one in the middle, and it represents the present position. And then 6, 7, 8, 9. The ninth card represents you in the future. So you get an idea of what you were like in the past, what you went through in chronological order to get to the present, and what you will go through in chronological order to get to the future, represented by this card here. So the person who left the comment got the Empress, then she got the Ace of Swords reversed, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups reversed, and the Ace of Batons. I don't know what the future holds or what the future cards were, but we're going to discuss today these first 5 cards. So that's the layout. And I wrote some notes. The question had the Empress in the past. But the thing is, when is the past? And so it's a good idea, I think, if you, the reader, can figure out what kind of time period you're going to deal with. So maybe it's your birthday, in which case you could do the next year. So this would be you a year ago. This is you now, and this is you a year from now. And these 3 cards show what you went through last year, because that was you in the past. And these 3 cards show what you will go through to get to that point in the future. And if you remember, cards show, I think, what's important and what's relevant. So it's not always the most obvious thing to other people. But I think it's more if we can consider that a card the tarot works or is valuable because it helps you focus on or see what's actually important, even though you may have missed it. And so if we look on we've got the Empress in the past, whenever that was. It may have been last week before the reading was done, or it could be 6 months ago. I don't know, and it's up to the questioner in this case to figure out when was she the Empress, and then what she went through. So you could do, if it's your birthday, you could do this year and what's going to happen, and this is how you got to this year, how you got to this point. Or maybe you decide you want to do this for 3 months. So this right now is you today, or you at the time of doing the reading. And so if we're going to say this is you 3 months from now, this would be you 3 months ago. And this would show what you went through in the last 3 months from this position to get to here. And this is what you're going to go through to get to that position. So if you think about the time frame first, it's going to give you a better understanding of where the person was and what they went through. It can give them a better idea of timing, because the Empress for the questioner could be 20 years ago. I don't know how old the person is or what their situation is, but it could be 20 years ago. It doesn't have to be the recent past. In a way, this is the recent past, because we're doing this in chronological order. Distant past, which could be 2 months. It doesn't have to be 20 years. The intermediate past and the recent past. Immediate future, short-term future, long-term future, before you get to the actual future card. So it could be that this can be 3 months ago or whenever it happened to be. But the reason I'm talking like this is because I want to tell you this, that you won't know. But different periods of life are ruled by different planets. And so at certain times in anybody's life, you have a change from one period to another one. And the thing is, at certain times of life, your priorities change, or what's important changes. But the problem is, or it can be a problem, that we get so used to doing things a certain way for a number of years. Then the change comes, but nobody tells us, or we don't know. So we continue doing what was happening before, and we wonder why things aren't working the same way. And it can be because there's a change of period. So the moon, from birth to age 7, is ruled by the moon. So for the first 7 years of life, you're getting used to being in life. From 7 to 15 is Mercury. And Mercury represents new learning. So from 7 to 15, you're learning new lessons or you're learning new information. From 15 to 24 is ruled by Venus, where you're finding a balance between how you came into life, represented by the moon, and the new learning that has taken place in this lifetime, represented by Mercury, and 7 to 15. So there's a change when you turn 15. And it's Venus. And so you can look at the person's date of birth and see where Venus was in the zodiac at the time they turned 15, and get a more detailed idea about the nature of this period from 15 to 24. 24 to 34 is the sun. And that's when you sort of get the hang of what's going on and you understand how you're built. 34 to 45 is Mars, and Mars represents personal creative energy. So when you turn 34, you've been doing the sun, so to speak, for 10 years, and you can get used to it and think you've got to keep doing it. But at 34 to 45, it's ruled by Mars, and Mars is personal creative energy. Not that you can't be creative when you're 15 or 14, but it's more like the priority changes and your personal creative energy becomes more important or more dominant or more of a priority. And then you can look in the horoscope to see where Mars was at the time of birth and get better idea about what's going to be happening in that long 11-year period. And the other thing I'd like to mention is if you've got the Sun in Scorpio and Mars in Scorpio as well, there's a kind of continuation of Scorpio things from 24 up to 45. So it doesn't mean that there's a major shift. It depends on where the planets were at the time of birth. So from 45 to 57 is Jupiter, and Jupiter represents expansion. So at 45 to 57, you're meant to expand upon what you've been doing. 57 to 70 is Saturn. That's when you're meant to teach. You teach what you know. It doesn't mean you go to school and get a teaching qualification, but it's where you've been around long enough and you've learned a certain amount. Now is the time to pass on what you know. Again, you can pass on what you know when you're younger, but it's more like the priority. There's a change when you turn 57, and it's more serious, maybe because it's Saturn, and where you pass on the knowledge that you've accumulated over your 57 or so years. And then 70 to 84 is Uranus, 84 to 99 is Neptune, and 99 to 115 is Pluto. But we'll leave those for the moment. So with this in mind, it can be, I don't know how old the questioner is, but maybe 3 being the number of the planet Jupiter. I've mentioned this before, 3 is Jupiter with Cairo's numerology. But so maybe what we do is we think, okay, the Empress, this is the question of sometime in the past. We don't know when, but let's say that was what they were like in the past. And it was time to expand because it's number 3 for Jupiter, the planet of expansion. So at some time in the past, the questioner was meant to do things in a big way, or begin to do things in a big way, or do things in a bigger way than they had been doing. But maybe the problem was, or maybe the first card is the Ace of Swords upside down. So a new beginning, but delayed or reversed in some way. Maybe because the Empress is comfortable. She's sitting there on a nice outdoor bench and cushions, and it's a sunny day. The Empress can represent comfort, and maybe that's why the Ace of Swords was upside down. The questioner knew it was time to expand and wanted to expand her social sphere, maybe, because the Empress can be the center of a group of people. And she maybe knew it was time to expand or do things differently or do things better. But with the Ace of Swords upside down, she didn't. So step one was not so much failure, but step one was things not working out as well as expected or as well as wanted. And because it's a sword, and use a sword to prune and cut, maybe the Empress person at one point recognized, I've got to do better. I've got to expand. And the first thing I've got to do is get rid of stuff. The sword cuts out what's broken, what doesn't work. So I need to get rid of the people that are holding me back, the thoughts that are holding me back, the ideas that are going to get in the way, because I need to get organized with the Ace of Swords, but it's upside down. So it could be that there was a period of time where the Empress went through knowing what she ought to do, but not doing it, or not having the courage to do it because a sword is fighting, and maybe you've got to be brave if you're going to fight. So the first steps that she took didn't work or weren't that satisfying. But the next card is the Ace of Pentacles. She got the hang of it. It's an ace, it's upright, and it's pentacles that represents money, but it also represents values. So this period of failure, we could call it, or this period of lack of progress was valuable and good because it taught her what she needed to know. And so she got herself together with the Ace of Pentacles. So that's the thing about, if something goes wrong, it's not always a bad thing if you learn from it. And the Empress learned from the disappointment or the false starts of the Ace of Swords upside down. She learned, and she was ready to begin again and begin properly. Then what happened? The Ace of Cups upside down. Maybe she decided, okay, Cups is home and family and loved ones. So maybe after the Ace of Pentacles, she realized she wanted to improve her relationships with people. And she made a good start at it, but Cups being family and loved ones, maybe her children or her partner or her close friends didn't like what she was suggesting or didn't want to cooperate with the new plan that the Empress had. And that's why the Ace of Cups is upside down. So it can be like, it's sort of like going back to here where you know what you want to do and you're enthusiastic about it and you're up to do it, up for it, up for the challenge, but other people aren't. So they maybe stop you in your tracks, or they don't cooperate, or they make you feel guilty that you want what you want. Because Cups can be emotional blackmail or emotional guilt, or having a temper tantrum if you say to somebody, you have to do this, or I want you to do this, and they just go ballistic and scream and yell and make you back down. So we've got a period like that. But now the Empress is the Ace of Batons. She's got the hang of all these different false starts and how to go about making things work in her favor, or making things work the way she wants. Here, if you look, we've got a hand holding, in the right hand, she's holding this, I don't know what it is. It's a thing with a ball or a round thing on top of it. It's like she's a symbol of harmony, because it's a circle and it's infinitely expanding because it's a circle. And here we've got a hand. So in some way, she's the same, because the hand is holding something up. And here we've got an ace, a hand holding something up. And it's a baton, which can represent enterprise and energy. So Here, she's got certain things she wants to do. It doesn't work, it does work, it doesn't work. Now it does. And now she's in a good position to the present, because she's been through this in the past. Now she's ready to move forward into the future with enthusiasm, with confidence, with optimism. Not just because she's enthusiastic and optimistic, but because she's had a couple of setbacks. The Ace of Swords reversed and the Ace of Cups reversed. So she's had to deal with and overcome difficulties. And she was successful there, and she's been successful overall because she's represented by an Ace of Batons upright. So she can now confidently deal with anything that the future holds. So, I think that was it. I'm just putting these back and kind of not all together in case they get mixed, in case they get stuck together, sort of, when I'm shuffling. So that was it for the moment. Again, if you have questions, tell me what you struggle with. There were some people who have left comments, and I'll deal with them next, or as we go through this with the next videos. But if you've got something you've thought of in the meantime that you struggle with, or you find painful or difficult with the tarot, let me know, and we'll figure out what to do about it so that you can be more comfortable. And the other thing is the tarot.ca. Have a look there if you haven't been already, and maybe sign up for the newsletter, because I'm sort of in the process of putting together an ongoing, well, not regular, but an occasional, ideally interesting piece of material about the tarot and what to do and how we can all make use of it and benefit from it. So that was it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a few days. Okay? Bye-bye.